Okay, Kathy, if you're okay with it, if everyone's okay with it, I think I'm going to hit the go button. Can you and folks? I think we have our monitor that's silencing everyone. We'll talk about that in a minute. But if you're not silenced, you may want to go ahead and do that. If you unsilenced yourself, you may want to go ahead and correct that. But Kathy and I will make sure that we give you an opportunity to participate where we can. So Kathy, can you confirm for me that you are seeing my slide deck, the certification tips and tricks page there, opening page?
Good
Yes.
to
go. Okay. All right. So let's respect everyone's time and go ahead and get this thing started. So my name is Keith German. I am presenting to you on behalf of CCI Learning, our company. And our focus today, and really is just I guess I ought to say, just thank you for your time. I honestly don't know how some of you are doing it. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy thing that we're living through right now. A lot of therapy needed. Sometimes I always say that's kind of my thing. Therapy. I just need therapy sometimes. So I'm sure some of you can relate. Bless your hearts is what we say here in Texas. So bless your hearts. But today we're going to focus on certification tips and tricks, and it'll come in various forms and everything. But I do want to say that thank you for your time, and we're going to try to really give you some best practices is really kind of our goal, if you will, our focus today, and hopefully you will find some nuggets and some benefit from this, and also hopefully we'll have some feedback from you throughout as well. All right, let me see if I can get this wonderful thing to slide on down. There we go. Okay. I've got some amazing colleagues on this line and some amazing folks that'll be helping in the background. So they have muted your phones for obvious reasons, I hope. We mean well. We mean well. Don't take it personal. But notice if you're not familiar with Teams like we are, I mean, we use this every day, so it's kind of second nature to us. If you're not familiar with it, we try to give you a little bit of an image to look at here. If you do not want to share your image on screen with everyone, you're welcome to turn your camera off. It's a toggle on off, just the camera option. Obviously, we've taken care of the mute option. Later, when we open it up to Q&A, you're welcome to unmute yourself simply by clicking your mute button, your microphone, if you will. But the main thing I wanted to focus here on was the chat button. Absolutely 100% as we're going through this and we're covering material. If you have a thought, a comment, etc., feel free to use the chat option in your Teams window and provide us some feedback, make sure your voice is heard, etc. And we've got folks that are monitoring that throughout the presentation. And then also, I guess you can go take a peek at participants if you want, and you may find some familiar names or faces and all, but I do want to say hello, not only to our US-based folks that are on here, but this is an international and global audience. Matter of fact, I gave a shout out earlier, Kathy and I did, to our friend Adam. He's at the Isle of Man over in the UK area. But we know that we have people on this call right now that are in numerous countries. I can see some of the names. We're familiar with them. This is a global audience, and that is so exciting. And I hope you put up with this Texas accent because it can be difficult for some people. I'll just do my best to speak clearly. And I will be sure to give a shout out to y'all, as we say here in Texas, right now. So we got an amazing participant list here. I'm going to try to speed up it every once in a while here too, because we got a lot to cover and we only have about 50 to 55 minutes to do that because we're going to have some Q&A time as well. So just trying to get the welcome and introductions out of the way right now. I'm going to jump right out of PowerPoint and right into one of the best practices options, one of these certification tools, if you will, certainly a product with our company, CCI Learning, and that is called Jasper Active. But today, I'm going to introduce you to the online web version with a quick review, very quick review. That will be tough for me because I am a trainer and an onboarder and all that kind of stuff, and that'll be tough for me, but y'all wish me well. And so we'll get through that. We'll do the self-help and everything else as well. And Kathy is going to chime in, and she's going to really hit what I call the nugget, the true value of today's presentation as well. And that is talking about a number of the certification options and processes that are available to you. So here's who we are. Again, my name is Keith German. I'm so glad to be here with you from Texas in the United States. If you guys want right now, feel free. We'll give you an opportunity to blow up the chat. Feel free to go to the chat and give us a shout out and tell us where you are located. We would love to know that. We would love to hear from you. That's so much fun when that happens. So we actually get a string of that chat and we get to keep it, and it's kind of fun to go back and look at it later. Okay, so I am a certified educator, by the way, here in the state of Texas. I do come from the classroom. I miss my kiddos. I miss being a part of that. It's certainly a nice time that I had as well. But I fell in love with this product called Jasper Active as a teacher so much, and they can vouch for it, that I literally called the company up and I kind of sort of begged them to hire me. And for some reason they did that. I hope they don't regret it. But I'm going into about my 4th year right now, and I don't know quite how they've put up with me this long. So one of the things I ought to tell you, by the way, if there's anybody on this call that's one of those rowdy people and everything, listen, I'm a sports official. I know how to deal with rowdy people. I was calling balls and strikes last night, and you ought to hear some of the things I was hearing from the backstop. So, but no, I'm just saying that for fun. But so I enjoy those kind of things. I'm here with my amazing partner with a D, partner in success, Kathy Schmidt. And Kathy is in the wonderful, amazing state of Washington here in the United States. So she's way, way, way on up there in the left corner. There she is. She actually is just below my amazing colleagues that are in Langley, Vancouver, Canada area. So CCI Learning, that's our headquarters area. And so Kathy's up there. Now let me just say, she's going to blush. She knows it's coming, but let me just say, she is a 10+ year veteran of certifications. She is an evangelist. She is a champion. In fact, she has taken people to the national and world championships of Certiport Moss events and everything. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm somewhere around a 3 or 4, and she's at that 10, 12 level. And I knew you'd shake your head, but the truth is just the truth. But I just wanted to, she has one of my favorite stories to always talk about, and I still to this day when I watch it, the hair stands up on my arms. But she has a student that left her classroom one time, super shy, was bullied throughout a number of her years, was kind of lost, not sure where she was going to go. That student came to her class and she found her purpose in certifications. She found her footing, if you will. And to this day, folks, teachers, listen to me, celebrate this to this day, right now. That young woman graduated, went to college, graduated, and she is now a full-time program manager employee at Microsoft. And her name is Ashley, and we just love telling that story, and so proud to be on this thing with Kathy. And she's already introduced the woohoo, so you guys are going to have to get used to that. 8 grandkids, or I should say the 8th is on the way, so 8 grandkids. So she's an amazing lady. All right, this is our team. A number of these folks, if not all, I haven't had time to look, are on this session with us and so forth. I just wanted to give them a shout out, thank them for their support. There's Raul waving and sharing his screen and saying hello to everybody. And so appreciate that. And welcome everybody. So glad we're able to be together. So I probably have already gone over my 5 minutes on the agenda for welcome and introductions. So thank you for putting up with me. Okay. You guys did not come here to watch a PowerPoint presentation. You came here to get some value and some benefit. So how about this? How about I hit the escape button there, and how about I toggle? And Kathy's going to verify for me in a minute that she is actually seeing me switch screens, and I am now looking at a Word screen. Is that correct, Kathy?
Yes. Well,
awesome.
It's catching up, but yes.
Awesome. So I'm going to try to make up for some time here, but I am going to ask my friend Kathy, or if any of my colleagues are looking at the chat, just right now, is there anything urgent that we need to address right now before I jump into this? All right, I'm being told that we're good. Okay, so folks, I'm going to give you a taste as best I can of Jasper Active MOS online. This is anytime, anywhere access to a learning product for MOS on virtually any device. You want to use this on a Chromebook? Use it on a Chromebook. You want to use it in a Mac? Mac. I personally every day work on a PC, a Windows-based PC, but I have my Chromebook. I'm looking at it right now, right over here on my table. So I have one of those as well. And we have an amazing school district. I know of at least one personally that we have a school district I work with. There's kids are learning on iPads using this system. So it's anytime, anywhere, true web-based application. It's called Jasper Active MOS Online. So that's what we'll feature today. We certainly do have Jasper Active Digital Literacy. For those of you who are online that are looking for an IC3 digital literacy product, we have that in the web-based form as well. And we have Jasper Active QuickBooks, and we're coming out with some others throughout this year as well. And they will be built in the form of web-based anytime, anywhere access. So anyone, if you don't know, can go to office.com from a web browser. If you don't have a Microsoft 365 account, if you do, then just log in with it. If you don't, just go create a free Microsoft login account and then log in. Once you do, you will be able to have access to the Microsoft web apps, is what we'll call them. Today, I'm going to focus on Word. We have Word, Excel, PowerPoint here on my screen. And once you select your application to go learn in, you, the students, let's say, once the students select their application to learn in, they'll click the new document always, and they'll go into that. And I'm going to click my tab over here because I've already launched it. And so obviously you can see my screen. I'm looking at a blank new Word document. Now, again, this is not a training session today, so I'm not going to go into the details on how to get it. But if you look into my ribbon, you will see that I have Jasper Active for Office already into my ribbon. How did I get that? That is because it's an Office add-in. If you've never dealt with add-ins in Office, it's as simple as going to your insert button, going to add-ins, searching in the store, finding it, and adding it. That's all we did there. Okay, so once you click that option right there, you get this welcome to Jasper Active pane here. Here is our prescriptive learning pathway. We always try to start our students off with a benchmark to assess where they are today, and then we use their results to build out a prescriptive learning pathway in the coursework. And then they go into their lessons and we teach. So the software teaches. We then have a create project. So the project is already built into this. And that's the post-learning, show me that you can apply what you've learned type application. Okay. All right. So, and then we have the ebook built in it. So today I'm going to click get started. And it's simply going to launch the application and allow me to log in.
Keith, you're not showing that screen anymore.
Okay, I am going to, yep, Teams dropped the share. So thank you for telling me. So basically, I have put in my username and my password, and I'll click log in. And all I'm doing is just logging into the system. Anyone can go there as well and create an account, but you would need a code to get into the courseware from a teacher, from an instructor. Okay, so that would be required there. If you're not a client of this system, and many people on this session are not, then you certainly have the opportunity to request a demo code of it from the sales resources that are available to you. Okay, once you get into the system, there's the benchmark. Now I have a check mark. I've already taken my 30-minute benchmark exam here. I've already submitted it as a result, etc. So I've got my check mark here. What we're going to focus on today is lessons. Here are the objectives, the domains that we'll cover for certification purposes. So this software is designed to teach the students what they need to learn in order to pass a Microsoft Office certification exam. Okay, so we will cover all of those elements. So once you have your start buttons and you can work down the list in whatever order that you need to. But so today I'm going to work on the insert and format text paragraph. And so we have in-app exercises, which simply mean that these exercises can be done with all of the elements that are already available in the Microsoft Web App. And then we have interactive exercises. You'll see the difference in just a second. And these type exercises are those that we've essentially provided the students a visualization of the Office app and provided them all of the elements and functionality, the commands, in order to produce the result they need for learning. But some of those commands are just not yet in the Office web apps by Microsoft. And so we filled the gap in through our learning product. So I'm going to click on Learn to Work Text. Like a good teacher, we give them their objective. We tell them exactly what they're about to learn, those kinds of things. So we give them an introduction. They click Start, and it launches the coursework. So our software will launch their project file for them. And it gives them instructions. So it gives them an introduction. It says click home. Now I'll click home. Now here's where it gets interesting, and some of you will learn a little bit about Office web apps here. It says click the find button. So there it is. I click find. Now notice my instructions have gone away. This is a web app type thing that you'll all learn as teachers, and you'll teach your students about as well. There are these buttons over here, and you toggle back and forth. So there's the search button. So I'm going to click this button here, and it takes me back to my Jasper Active instructions. It says in the search field, type Microsoft and press enter. So I'm going to go back to the search field. I'm going to type in Microsoft and press enter. And notice it went and found it into my body right there. So I go back to my instructions, and it gives me a little bit of tips, and I'm done with question 1 of 3. So I hit submit. This is what the students are doing to learn. And then we give them an instruction right here in the document. Click at the end of the word Microsoft. So I'm going to come over here and click at the end of the word Microsoft. I'm pretty sure I got it, but it does say click one more to ensure that you're at the end of it. Okay, I appear to be at the end of it there. And it says to click insert. It says to click symbol. And then it wants you to find the registered sign, and it tells you where it is if the student needs any help. And I've done that. You can see that with the word. And then I scroll down here, and it gives me some information. It says in the first line below the hardware heading. So here's the hardware heading. Select the dash. Okay, I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to select that dash. And it says to come back up here and click home, click symbol, click more symbols. And it tells me to find the M dash, and it tells you where that is as well. So I select it. It says to click insert, and then it tells me to close the symbol window. So now I've got my M dash there. So you notice kind of how the software functions and what the students will experience, and we wanted to give you a taste of that as well. Then it tells you to go to the search field. Now I'm going to intentionally skip this. I just wanted you to see what happens. It gives you some final instructions on my question 3 of 3. I'm going to go ahead and submit my assignment, and I'm going to tell it to finish. And sure enough, as you would expect, I would get a red X right there. Hey, by the way, if you want success, we got steps 1 and step 2 done. So we're good there. By the way, if your students get this red X, all they got to do is hit this ebook. One of the great things about an ebook being embedded into our software is what? That it's context sensitive. Our software will take them exactly to where they need to read and learn, so they can go back. Maybe they need to do some remediation, and they can go back into the system and try again. I'm going to click finish here. I'm going to go back to my lesson, and I have completed 22% of this particular lesson, and it shows me that I've gotten part of that exercise correct, so it's not completely correct. Today, I just wanted to give you a taste of what an interactive lesson looks like. This is a lesson where not all of the commands are in the Office app, so we have to kind of give them a visualization of the exercise, but with instructions. So once they're ready, they just hit the play button, they get their objective statement, and they hit start. It tells them to come in here. Now, notice if I got it right, if I click the right buttons in Teams, I think you're going to hear this, but it comes in and gives you instructions that says click layout. Hopefully you heard that. And then it says click orientation, and it says to click landscape. And so notice I'm actually visually showing the students what the Microsoft Office looks like, and I'm stepping them through it through a click through interactive exercise. So it's still kinesthetic, it's still hands-on and learn by doing, but it's a interactive exercise. And then it comes in here and tells them where to click and what to type, etc. So for today's purposes and everything, I just wanted you to get a taste of that and feel it and see how we actually work the students through everything they need to learn to pass the certification exam. So I'm just going to go back to my lesson and everything. And that's what we wanted to demonstrate there. The only thing that I will touch on here is you have the ability in this software to highlight text. A student does. They can right click and they can say if they upload in this case, I happen to have a Google Chrome browser, so I uploaded the extension for Immersive Reader, Microsoft's Immersive Reader. So I'm going to say, help me read this. And this is so cool. As teachers, we all know how powerful this is. Some of these students
learn to work with text. In this exercise, you will search for text, so you can add a registered trademark symbol.
Okay, so a lot of students, you already know who they are, you're already thinking of them, who would benefit from that type of feature and functionality. So the system text, the instructions can be read to those students who struggle in that area and need that type of support. Okay?
Keith, can you show one thing for me?
I can.
Can you collapse your ribbon at the top of Jasper Active and just let them know that if they're on a Chromebook, they won't see that enhanced ribbon?
That's a good instruction. So everyone, you see, I've gone back, you see that I have what's called the classic ribbon. This looks normal to anyone who knows Office. I'm going to go over here to the right, this little up arrow. Notice it says switch ribbons. I'm going to click it and notice I now have a single line ribbon, not the classic ribbon. It just took all of the commands and put them into one single line. So it can't get all the commands in there. So they have now this thing called a more button, more options, 3-dot button. And now comes your extended ribbon menu options, your extended menu, and there's the Jasper Active icon if you need to launch it. But this is what it would look like on a Chromebook or other type of devices that can't really portray a full classic ribbon. Is that what you wanted to accomplish, Kathy? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you for that. Okay, so to stay on time, I'm probably already off time. Kathy's going to get mad at me. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to hit this button here. And I just want to give you a little bit of a tip on if you're using a learning system, here's how we work with our clients. Here's how we help them. But before I do, I have to do something I've never done before. So watch me. I'm taking my readers off. I'm taking my readers off. No one, even my colleagues have never seen this. This is going to be new to them. And yes, Keith German does have nerd glasses. I cannot see you right now, by the way, because I have contacts in and I just put my nerd glasses on. But I thought I would reveal for the first time globally my nerd glasses. So y'all are the first. All right, I better get my other glasses on. But we're just having a little bit of fun right here. Lord bless the tech support people. Lord bless them. So I love the definition: a person who does precision guesswork based on unreliable data provided by those who with questionable knowledge. Hey, like I said, we do love you. So key features in the support page here. This is our Jasper Active support page, simply reached by going to support.jasperactive.com. We have wonderful how-to guides here. We have a video library that's on our YouTube channel, and we have this wonderful button called submit a ticket. If you were to encounter an issue or have a question you felt like tech support needed to address it, you could do all of those things. We have amazing getting started resources. By clicking these logos, you get all of the step-by-step guides to get you up and running on the system as well. But here's a tip. Here's some tips that apply anyone on this session, whether you use Jasper Active or not. If you're ever working with tech support, one of the tips that I would leave you today is make sure that when you communicate to them, to the extent you can, please go snip or grab a screenshot of whatever the error message is or whatever the screen looks like at the moment that is presenting the issue that you're trying to report. If you can, take a video of the process, hopefully something's shorter than about a minute or so, but take a video of the process and share that with the tech support people. And then the other thing is explain the steps that you went through to produce that issue. In other words, allow them to try to duplicate the issue. And we're bringing in an operating system in the browser. It might to them be important to know that you're actually using a Mac. You're using Windows version 10. I'm using the Edge browser, Firefox, Chrome. those kind of details might be helpful in everything. And the last thing I notice I don't see here right here is if you do report that a student, maybe 27 students that are on your remote session or in your classroom, and one of the students is having this issue, but the others are not, please reveal who that student is when you report it so that they can look up the student account and troubleshoot it. Okay. I am going to be quiet for a second and turn this thing over to my amazing colleague, Kathy. Oh, you're muted, Kathy. You did it. You're going to go viral now. You're going to go viral.
I certainly did do it, didn't I? So I just am excited to share with you some tips and tricks for certification. I want to thank Keith. Are you guys hearing an echo, or is that just me hearing that?
I'm not.
Okay, good.
I think I saw a couple shake their heads yes, though, but I'm not.
Okay, great. So yes, I'm excited to share with you some tips and tricks for certification. And I am going to go live here in just a minute, but I want to share some valuable information with you. And I also want you to know that all of these links in this deck is going to go out afterwards with the recording. So you should be able to access these links and all of this information that I'm about to send you. And so, Keith, I did ask for control, just so you know. So if you'll hand it over to me, that would be great. So first thing I always teach students, and this is my biggest tip by far, is help them understand why Microsoft certification is so important. And I have given you some information. I have an entire deck. It's 8 slides on why Microsoft certification is so important. It has things like student success stories. There are 3 videos in that deck. There are statistics, the International Data Center study on workplace readiness, and Microsoft Office is the only certification and the only software technology named anywhere in that survey for workplace readiness. So a lot of great information. I've also given you a sample Indeed.com table where students can do an Indeed search and put the skill that they're looking for in the area they're looking for it. And I built a table of it so that they could see the value of Microsoft Office certification and Microsoft Office skills. And then at the bottom of this slide is the link to the actual deck. So I'm not actually going to, I would really like to play this Ashley video, but it's not giving me control. So just know that there are some great videos in here for student certification. You want to go to the next slide, Keith?
Yes, I just did.
Yep. Great, thank you. So one of the biggest issues that we have in the classroom for you as teachers is you will offer a certification exam and we will get a panic message that your students have gone all the way through, and now it's saying that when you put the proctor identification in, that there's no exams available. So I want to make sure and touch on this with each of you, and I'm going to go live and show you this here in just a minute. Check that your licensing is active. Your Certiport Authorized Testing Center, that's what CATC stands for. Certiport Exams from Home is what CEFH stands for. So you would need an active CATC license and you would need an active Microsoft license. It's the same if you're running Adobe tests or any other offering that Certiport has. So make sure that your licensing is active. Check that you have the proctor role assigned to whatever you logged into the Certiport Exams from Home. This is very important because if not, when you go to type that into the proctor screen, you won't be able to advance from there. And then make sure that you have inventory, and I'll show you where to find that, but make sure that you have inventory or vouchers prior to getting into your admin link. I'm going to make a minor assumption here that most of the people on the call have already done some type of Certiport exam from home, or they understand the process of how to schedule and things like that. And we're kind of giving you tips and tricks and best practices. So if you don't understand the Certiport exams from home process, I'm going to touch on a website here when I go live and let you see where to do that. So the Certiport exams from home, schedule them out. It's very, very important that you don't plan to book your exams tomorrow or today for tomorrow or the next day or today for next week. They're usually about 2 weeks out. So you kind of want to get on that schedule and get some exams booked for yourself and for your class. That you can always cancel what you don't need. So not that you want to be overbooking a bunch, but make sure that you get the timeframes that you need. And then if you end up with students that don't or aren't ready to test, you can go ahead and cancel those. Make sure you take advantage of their links that you can add your appointments to your own calendar. So crucial in the organizational piece of you testing. And one of the most woohoo moments is that reminders are now in your own time zone. I don't know if you all knew that, but for a while they were reminding you in Mountain and Eastern time. And yeah, it was a real problem for sure. People were struggling with getting into the exam admin link at the wrong time. And then kids were not able to test because they didn't have enough time or it wasn't the right time. So super excited that all your reminders are in your own time zone now.
Hey, Kathy.
Yes.
We'll do this every once in a while before we get into the, excuse me, the full Q&A session. One of our participants would like for you to address what if your licensing expires before the end of the school year? And I suspect that they just need to reach out to their licensing vendor Certiport and inquire about that. Is that correct?
I have two answers to that. We have to specify what licensing we're talking about. So if you're talking about your CATC licensing, yes, you would have to contact Certiport. If you're talking about your Microsoft multiple programs license or your Microsoft Office Specialist license or your Adobe licensing or anything like that, that is a year-by-year renewal, and you can just go in and renew that as soon as the renew button shows up. So as long as you have inventory for that assigned, you will have the opportunity to renew that license. So I hope that makes sense. It's two licensing structures. And if your CATC license is out of sync or out of date, then yes, you have to contact Certiport.
And our friend Christy did put a chat message in there. Our friend Christy from Certiport did put a chat in there on how to contact and who and those kind of things. Mariah would like for you to answer, how many students can you test at once?
Yeah, that's a great question. The max grouping is 10 students. So as teachers, we are pro at multitasking. So I would suggest that you test 10 students the first couple of times and kind of get a hang at how the structure works and how the admin link works. And then if you're a good multitasker, you could run a session on multiple screens, or you'd have to manage them in multiple tabs. So that's a great question. I'm going to go live and show you what that link looks like, hopefully, if I can get control. So preparing your students. I wanted to throw some links in here for you. And this is a down and dirty on preparing your students. It usually is, I spend an entire 50-minute class time on this just because I want to make sure that my kids are ready to go when it's time. So that register link is a guide from Certiport. And so you're going to get your students registered. It takes about 20 minutes to get your entire class all registered, or you can ask them to register outside of their class time with you. I always, always, always recommend that you, as a teacher, require the same naming convention. It will save you a lot of time and a lot of hassle. So they're either all going to use their Microsoft login to their, or whatever they log into their machine with, or whatever their classroom or school, student information system login is, or whatever their Windows login is. But whatever you do, you want your whole class to be using the same naming convention, and you can even define that, something like last name dot first name middle initial, and then their password is their 8-digit birthday. The reason I do this is because when a student says to you, oh, they say to me, Ms. Schmidt, I forgot my login, and I'm able to just tell them off the top of my head because you don't have access to that as a teacher. So very important that you're using the same naming convention. Second, watch the tutorial. And thank you. Watch the tutorial. This tutorial link is for the 2019, and it's a fantastic brand new tutorial. If you've not seen it yet, it is very, very well done. So I always walk my kids through the tutorial on what the testing environment is going to look like, and then have them practice logging in to Certiport.com with their username and password that they just set up. I have them do it 2 or 3 times, and if they can log into Certiport.com, then they'll be able to log into the exam link. So that's preparing your students. And this student registration, these are a few more links for you. Same slide. Somehow I got 2 of the same slide in there, but very, very important. And I've also included the 2016 exam tutorial in this one. And then the time frame. So it takes about 50 minutes to run this whole process. All right. Communication. There is a communication piece that's very, very important for you as a teacher, and that is getting the links out. When you're working with Certiport exams from home, you get links that are sent to you, and you are the go-between between Certiport and the student. So I've given you some links and some information on if you are sending them out to a lot of students. I would recommend a mail merge. If you've never run a mail merge, then I've given you some links to videos on how to run a mail merge with Outlook and Word locally installed, or if you're using Gmail, or if you're using the Office 365 web app. I've also given you some sample templates, the Excel spreadsheet to track all your information in. It'll be really important for you as a teacher to track the virtual link you gave the student and the virtual machine that they've been assigned to. It'll help you know who's where, when. And then I've also given you a Word document for the first email. So when you schedule, you get a confirmation 24 hours after you schedule, and then you can send this email out to all your students saying, this is your time, this is your date, make sure that you set this time aside. Here's some tutorials, here's a speed test you can run, things like that. And then the second email is a little more detailed because you don't get your links until 24 hours before testing. I always send another email out to students saying, here's your link. Here are the exact steps you need once you click on this link. And here's also another video that you can watch on what the process looks like. So those links we have provided for you, and they'll come out in the follow-up email after the recording is done processing. All right.
Kathy, you want to try one more question?
Yes, I would love one more question.
Really, it's just a clarification. So did I catch that correctly? I can test multiple groups on the same computer, can be on multiple screens, tabs. I don't need to be on a separate computer.
Correct, correct. And I've done it before. Each admin link will open in a different tab. So you'd be toggling back and forth between tabs. One key piece of information as well is I would create a Zoom, Google, Teams meet so that you're live with your students so that they're able to say to you, my Windows crashed, or I've been waiting at the proctor screen for a minute now, can you let me in, or whatever. So that's important for you as well.
And our friend Adam has said mail merge is fun. So
it is.
I'm gonna have to check his temperature later, but
Hey.
I'm going to assume that Adam is going to record a video one day and put it on LinkedIn. So there you go. There's your homework assignment.
That's a great idea because mail merge is the bomb. You can mail merge anything. I've done Christmas cards. I've done all kinds of stuff, labels, whatever I can put in my printer, I have mail merge.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and go live. I just wanted to let you know that there are 2 websites that information are found at for Certiport exams from home. And that is the Certiport Exams from Home website that they've set up for you. It's certiport.com/EFH. There's great training videos, great training guides. They've done a fantastic job with that website. And then Certiport.com is where you're going to log in as the organization administrator and make sure that you're ready, you have inventory, and that's also where you schedule. So I'm going to go ahead and take control.
Kathy, do you want me
Yep.
to stop sharing? Do you want me to stop sharing?
Yeah, I'm going to share my own screen now. So
Let me know if you need me to take an action.
all right. Are you seeing my screen now?
Adobe Academy?
Yes. Yeah.
Big bar? Mm-hmm.
So this is the Certiport exams from home site, and this is what it looks like. And I just wanted to briefly show you this. I'm not going to dive too deep into here. Great information on this website. One thing that I will show you that's not on the deck is that if you come to this exam administrator and you go to user training, they have some fantastic information here. They've got live trainings that you can attend. They've got a nice video here that walks you through the entire process, a fantastic guide with things like speed test and that in the guide. They've also got this fantastic begin the test drive. So if you click on this begin the test drive, it shows you what's going to happen when you click your admin link. So when you click your admin link that Certiport sends you, you'll be here, you'll log in, you'll be asked to choose your testing center, and they actually have a new feature that this video is not caught up to yet that says multiple centers. So if you're like for Mariah, my friend that's on the line, and Grace I saw was on the line, your teachers could actually pool together. And if you choose multiple center, you can actually choose up to 10 testing centers. So that's a brand new feature. So you'll choose what testing center you're going to test in. You'll start your machines. And then this is what you will see. There are jump links to every machine. And these I always copy and paste and put them into my spreadsheet so that I know what student is on what machine, because this is what you see. And once the student logs into this machine, there's no indication of who they are. So it's really nice to have that spreadsheet. And then you're just, this is what the interface looks like. You've got all your machines here. You can use the jump links to jump directly to whatever link you want to or you need to. You can see what the student is doing. There will be a little gray link that shows up here that shows what IP address has joined the session. So if you all of a sudden see a bunch of gray IP addresses pinging in here, you might want to question what's going on with that student. You might want to have them show their camera and make sure that they're not cheating, they don't have a group of people there, or they haven't given their link to somebody else who's coming in from another IP address. What I will tell you is that if you stay out here, you're fine. As soon as you hover over this window, you have now joined that session. So your IP address will show that you have joined that session. You can also take control of these screens as soon as you hover over them. You can click in them and you can help the student, you know, with a login or password, or point out that if they forgot theirs, I cannot access my account. That works for them. But obviously you're not helping them on the exam. If they freeze or have issues, there's a refresh screen. In your email that you're sent from Certiport, there is a support page that you're going to want to have open that gives you a live chat with someone. You can share the link of the window that's having trouble, and Certiport will come in and they will come to your rescue. So that's just a quick look of what the admin portal looks like. And as you can see, it loaded in here. If I were doing multiple admin links, they would open separate tabs. Once you're done, you can just simply log out and then you're done with that session.
Kathy, from a just a timely question here, can a student in my class still test under another teacher if we encounter scheduling conflicts?
Yes, but I would highly recommend that whoever that other teacher is, that they get proctor access with the original teacher's testing center so that that student can test in that center, and then that teacher has the reporting. Otherwise, the reporting shows up under whoever the testing center is set up as, and whoever the teacher is that's going to enter the proctor credentials needs to be associated as a proctor with that testing center. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. All right. And then just a quick, this is the regular where everybody's used to logging in as the org administrator. And I just want to cover with you making sure that your CATC is ready. I'll be 2 minutes on this, and then we'll be able to take questions. So when you log in, you want to make sure that your role at the top is Organization Administrator. And you want to click on My Certiport. Here you'll be able to see that your CATC is active. And if you scroll to the bottom, you can see if you've got inventory or not. And you can see this is not your Microsoft licensing expiration date. This is your CATC expiration date. So it's very important that you hover over My Certiport and go to Licenses, and you check that this is not out of date. This is an old licensing structure right here that I don't need, but if I did need this, I would simply click on Renew, scroll below the PDF, type my name here as seen under the box, and click Accept. You would then be ready to test because you have an active Microsoft license, you have inventory, and your CATC license is also active. In order to schedule, you're going to hover over Training and Tools, Schedule Exams, scroll to the bottom, and this catches people sometimes if they've got a delayed bandwidth. They're not in the wrong spot. It just takes a minute for the C times to load. And so there must be a lot of activity on this page right now because it's hesitating to load. So while it's loading, Keith, do we have any other questions?
Yeah, what are your thoughts on, and I'm sure some of this has to do with volume, but what are your thoughts on should a teacher create the user accounts for the students and then just give them their information? I'm sure you've seen it done multiple ways, but what are your thoughts on that?
The only way for a teacher to create student accounts is through the bulk upload. And so what I will say about Certiport is they have fantastic documentation. So you can use any search engine and you can type in Certiport and pretty much anything you want to know. And if you want to see a video, include the word video in that search. And they have videos for everything. They have guides for everything, but they do have a bulk upload. The only caution I'll give on the bulk upload is when you download your information or you create your Excel spreadsheet or your CSV file for your students, make sure that if you've imported data that it hasn't accidentally put a space at the end of each of those student names, or when you bulk upload, you'll end up with a crazy naming convention that gives some unique identifier to every one of those spaces, so it won't be the same for every student, if that makes sense. So yes, you can create through a bulk upload. Did
you happen to address how long CATCs stay licensed? Is it
1 year? Oh, CATC is indefinite until Certiport makes a change to the licensing. So yeah, you shouldn't run out of CATC. It's inventory and the actual when you activated your license that you run into problems. So your inventory license is yearly. And your multiple programs license is whenever you activated. So like if my first time I tested was today, then I'd need to renew next year at this day. So, and I think they give you a 10-day grace period even to kind of get that going before they lock you out of your exams. So just quickly, this is where you can see that you're 1 to 5 candidates, 6 to 10 candidates. It's an hour and 30-minute window for a 50-minute test. If you have students with accommodations, you need to use this one. You just see times, and then you're going to click the links. And I'm not going to go through every bit of this because they have a great video on this that you can watch on how to do this. But just know that you've got to be a little bit patient on how this whole process works. The one thing that you're going to get to this screen and you're going to realize you don't have is this Certiport ID right here. And you have to write this down before you start this process. Otherwise, you have to go back to my Certiport, and then it's in the middle of the page right here. It's an 8-digit number for my schools. I won't say what it is for international, but it's right here next to organization. So with that said, those are some quick 15-minute tips and tricks that I have. I have a whole hour-long presentation of this whole process, but we wanted to give you the best of the best and hope that this helps you in your endeavor. And don't forget that the most important thing that you can do with your students is why Microsoft certification is so important, because that really helps them with the buy-in and helps them understand why it's important. So I'm going to leave it there, and we can have people come off mute and ask questions if they want to. If we don't have any more questions, I'm definitely going to show the 3-minute Ashley video.
So Kathy, do you verify each student's identity through Microsoft Teams or whatever channel you use before testing? Would you have any thoughts on that?
Yes, and that's a great question. And if you pull the exam administrator's guide, there is a new red bullet point on the guide that tells you that that is now mandatory of you as the teacher to verify your student identification. And we typically do that anyway, right? We're in a Teams meeting, but I know we have a lot of schools with non-share the video policies. So you as a teacher have to know that you are quantifying and verifying that your student is who they say they are. And you can do that however you want. I would have them turn their camera on at least briefly. If you are paranoid, make them keep their camera on so you can see what they're doing. Totally your call. And then make sure you're kind of scrolling through those screens, kind of keeping track of those gray icons, and make sure you don't have other people pinging in there.
A teacher paranoid? You've seen that before?
Paranoid might not be the right word, but vigilant.
So the
that
other
guide
question
you mentioned, that sounds like I need to read.
Yeah. It's on that website.
Immersive reader, Mariah.
Was that Mariah? Yeah, that was Mariah.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. All right, so another question here, and I'll take this one if you don't mind. Is there a way to quote unquote shift the Jasper Active licensing to a month when school is out of session? So for instance, they're saying that theirs expires in March. July would be so much better. And certainly they're referencing this might be a better question for others. So I'm happy to take that question. And that is depending on who you purchased your Jasper Active license from, right? So like if you're a United States based client and you purchased your license from Christy Dye at Certiport, then you certainly could reach out to Christy and share that concern, and she could work with CCI Learning to adjust the licensing in an appropriate way. So there are some options that are available to you, and we would just recommend that you work with your person that you purchased the license from. Just make sure they're aware of that concern and that request.
Yeah, and I see a question here. You want students to be able to access their certificates after they graduate, so it's helpful if they use personal email and info to create their account, and that was great input by Mariah. And just know that teachers have the opportunity to print and reprint score reports and certificates, but I never did that for a student. Always try to put the onus on the student, teaching them how to take care of themselves so that they are not coming to you and their parents are not coming to you. Like I still have years down the road, there are students here and there are like, oh, I need that certificate. I've got a job, and they want to see it. And just a quick point out, I'm going to share that screen again and show you that when you're logged in as a test candidate, so when you always have the opportunity to reprint. So you would just go to my transcript. You would uncheck this show only past exams. And you can see all of your exams. So these are things I did not pass. This is my Proctor account, so there's not a lot here, but at the top of this, there would be certifications that I passed and an orange PDF link, and they would just click on that and get their certificate. But test candidates can always log in and take a look at their own profile. If you've used exam groups, which are great for keeping grading groups together, if they've not used their exam group and they've already taken the exam, they can add an exam group and get into your exam group. So, and exam groups are great, and we don't have time to cover them here, but you can certainly go to your favorite search engine and go to Certiport exam groups, and there is ample documentation and videos on that.
So Kathy, yeah, we are down to our last few minutes. So our Certiport friend here has added a note. If you use the school email to set up an account, the student can change it at any time.
Yes.
Teachers have access for up to 1 year. Students have access for life to reprint and share.
Yeah, that is fantastic information, and thank you for the clarification. And that really is the truth. And so email can be edited. One caveat that there is to using a school email is that a lot of schools have this blocked. And so you would want them to whitelist Certiport.com so that they're getting emails from Certiport.com through their filter. Additionally, whenever you earn a certification, you can earn a badge through a claim that can be connected to your LinkedIn, which again is a whole nother fantastic session to have. But acclaim.com needs to be whitelisted through your school as well so that your students can claim those badges and connect them to their social media. So yeah, great questions, great questions. Anything else?
There is a tip here from Mariah that teach your students how to add their badges to their various signatures. So that's a great teaching opportunity in a class, is when they do actually go into college, go into their career, or even before, when they're building resumes and they have an email signature line, et cetera, it might be nice to teach them how to add those badge images into their signature lines.
Yeah, that's a great point. And thank you, Christy Dye with us from Certiport. Fantastic information she has posted in the chat about your Acclaim badging, and acclaim.com has got awesome videos that you can show your students about how to work that and the benefit of using LinkedIn with your badges. LinkedIn will send students actual job openings. Will send whoever is on LinkedIn that has their badges on there if they opt in for that. So it's a great resource. Great resource.
And if you're wondering why I changed my background, one of our participants apparently has been in a session with me before, and he was very disappointed that I did not have my Minecraft background. So that has been corrected. My apologies.
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking we need to somehow find a way to get some marketing bling or something to Christy. We're going to don her a temporary CCI employee for this hour.
Yes, she's doing fantastic.
And maybe Mariah too.
Thank you, Christy. All right, well, if we don't have another question, I'm going to take the last minute or two we have, and I'm actually going to show you this video real quick of Ashley. This is one of the top rated motivational videos that you can show your students. I've had teachers call me and say, I showed that video to my middle school students and they can't wait to certify, and it's just awesome, awesome, awesome. So I think I have my volume turned on, so here we go.
Become the best in the world at these technologies.
My name is Ashley Masters. I'm 16 years old and I have 12 Microsoft Office Specialist certifications. It all started with a freshman required class at my high school. I was so shy and nervous. I didn't like the high school setting. It made me very uncomfortable. Having certification put me in a different mindset. It put me to feel comfortable and confident and like I really knew what I was doing. And that's something that a lot of high school students don't find. Then I started going to these competitions, of course, meeting hundreds and thousands of new people. I had to have confidence to step up and talk to them and communicate and start friendships and building relationships with all these people around the country.
She wanted to be good. She wanted to be good at everything she did. She just had a few emotional hindrances. You know, high school was a new thing. Certification has been a vehicle to recognize greatness in students and help them achieve that greatness.
My advisor, Mrs. Schmidt, she posted on Facebook, Ashley just took first place in Excel 2013, and a sponsor saw the post and they're like, no way, that's awesome. We need her to come work for us and she can train all of our employees in Excel. It was crazy. I was like, no way, that's so cool. And then a week later, I had my first interview with them and they hired me on the spot. I was 15 years old. I started off with about 4 hours per week. I would have maybe 2 people I would train each week, and I would have a 2-hour session with them. We'd go over projects, we would use their worksheets so we could improve them, and about a week and a half later into the job, they had an opening for administrative assistant, and I was offered that job full-time, 40 hours per week. I would encourage everyone to get certification. It's completely changed my life. I've gotten to travel the country going to these national competitions. Now I am training at the local women's shelter and I'm teaching them certification. Next, I hope to attend Central Washington University next fall. I would 10 out of 10 hands down recommend certification.
And I'm just going to be straight up with you guys.
Are you crying?
I
Did I
cannot
see you wipe your eyes?
I cannot watch that video without getting so emotional because this is the girl who was bullied in class. This is the girl who took a Microsoft certification exam and it changed her life. And this is the woman she is today. Yep. And so I'm here to tell you, hands down, Microsoft certification changes lives. And that group of kids and women that you saw in the video, that was our FBLA kids teaching the women's shelter. And that was very, very, very powerful to see how Microsoft certification changed those women's lives and got them and their children out of the shelter and got them the raise they needed for an apartment. It was just amazing. So this is a fantastic deck. This is the story about Linda Nguyen. She's from Auburn Mountain View, and she is the only woman that placed first place at U.S. Nationals. She taught herself English. She's from Vietnam. Just fantastic. Lots of testimonials here with facts, and then even a classroom activity for you here at the end. So that's it. Woohoo! Thanks for being with us.
Guys, we are at our full hour. I think we've maybe even stepped across it a minute or two. We appreciate you. Your time is valuable. If you are interested in, or are you already a Jasper Active client, please go find us on Twitter at Jasper Active or the support at Jasper Active SOS, and go to YouTube, find the Jasper Active how-to video series, subscribe, click the bell, and you'll be in great shape. Thank you for our Certiport friends. I know Christy was very active and we appreciate her. I saw some others in the participants list as well. Hello, John Becker. I know I saw your name. But Kathy, you are amazing. I am proud to be working with you and to call you my partner in success, and vice versa. I know, but Kathy, you did a great job. Everybody, blessings to you. Bless your heart. Howdy from Texas. And we look forward to being of service down the road.
Take care, everybody. Happy
Take care.
Friday.
Stay healthy. Stay healthy. Stay healthy. Bye, everybody.